perfect, thank you. Yeah.
Charging here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's why it was taking so long to get the Zoom started. Because I couldn't get the, I couldn't connect to Wi-Fi, so I couldn't.
that guy I see there. Go the front and ask.
Okay, yeah, I think he said he was looking for a password now, so.
So, where do you want people to come?
We can set a microphone up here, I guess. Yeah,
Well, just it would be helpful, like.
no,
And also,
no, not here.
no, not here.
They were standing mics, I don't know where they left.
So if they just talk from the tape, like from where
If they just stood up or,
but will they be picked up?
yeah, I think so, it's picked up on the owl.
Okay, so they can, we're just trying to figure out like where, do we just like have people speak from where they are, or if you want them more than.
They were saying. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, perfect, yeah. We have.
That is so weird. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Then. That's what you want.
Let's say you guys should split this and then place it right over there. Yeah, so
So I put on the Wi-Fi.
is it like go through like this site now? You have to add it, but yeah, there's no, she's using the phone. So I'm gonna go downstairs and ask about.
They're using this as for the Wi-Fi.
I'm trying to. Okay.
I love the bow tie, Representative.
I think we're gonna get started. Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Housatonic at Purple Pops. I'm the one of the newest senators and new senator for Bridgeport also. So in the 22nd district representing Bridgeport, Cumberland, Monroe. So very much glad to have you here. I'm glad to be the co-chair of this Committee on Special Education. Special education is a priority issue in the legislature this year for both the House. And we do that for these issues. And really
Bad
what we're
sound.
here, is to hear from you. Senator Kistler.
I can barely hear you guys.
We're
It's choppy,
here to
but
listen to you. So what we like to do in the first hour is to prioritize parents, teachers to come and speak. And if we'd like to get as much as possible because there are a lot of people here. We're going to also try to really try to get this content.
ah,
Can't hear anything. I
I
don't know
know.
if they can hear us. We can't hear you in Zoom land.
I don't even think that they are.
I clearly hear you guys, but I can't. That was so choppy.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Sorry, I thought I was on mute coughing. I just texted everybody. I don't know.
Yeah. All we can do is all we can do. But I can't even see them now.
I've been in touch with the folks there. I think they're having internet problems, that they were told that there would be internet access, and there was not. So they're trying to set this up, and it's been challenging.
Okay.
Oh, no.
And
Wow.
we also don't have CTN coverage as well. So we are dealing with a double whammy right now.
Wow. No
Yeah.
backup. Wow.
No backup. They said that they were too busy covering other things. So we were like, we'll make it work. And now Wi-Fi.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
very sorry. Oh, Rep Zupkis, I see you speaking.
Yeah, are you Brittany? You're with Hartford. You're with us.
Yes, I am with you guys.
Oh, I
Yeah.
was going to say, if you're a parent or somebody, tell us what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, gosh. You're on mute, Britt.
Hopefully we'll get back up and running shortly. But no, I'm just with the speaker, so I cannot share my thoughts.
Okay.
We can share ours.
Are we back?
So you know. You can mute. Okay, thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Representative Marion Khan. I represent Windsor, Hartford, and South Windsor. So I'm not from your area, but I'm happy to take a drive down here to really hear from all stakeholders. This is our third listening session that we've held for our committee. And we've heard, a good wealth of information, but absolutely very
Yeah, that's a thing. It's not showing
intrigued
that.
to see what's going on down in this part of the state. So
I
the
don't
only
know.
other thing I want to say before members are introduced,
Yeah.
there are two standing mics. I believe that one maybe did not work, but I'm gonna go check it while the other members talk. That's fine. And then so one mic is for people that come to speak.
Yes.
And we also have translators here for Spanish and Portuguese. So if you do need translation, as it's coming out, you can just say, and then we will, the translators can come up. There are QR codes at tables for people that wish to speak. If you can go and just register. I have the list as it comes in, as you register. So we'll call you kind of as the names come in. That way we just have the name. The email is also there, so if we need any follow-up, we can follow up with you. So those are just some logistics. I'm gonna pass it over to representatives.
Good afternoon. My name is Chris Poulos. I represent Sumington, Connecticut, and I work up the hill in Reading, Joe High School. I'm a high school Spanish teacher, so I serve and I teach simultaneously. It's a pretty interesting act. You know, I've been in lots of different schools in the 25 years that I've taught, and across the country and across our state. And whether you're in a suburban school, an urban school, or a rural school, schools are faced with the same challenges when it comes to special education. And I'm very pleased to be here today in Bridgeport to hear your stories, especially from parents and students and educators, just to kind of grow that knowledge I have and try to find a way that we could best meet the needs of not just our districts, but our students and teachers within those districts. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Representative Mitch Kalinsky. I represent King County and Sandy Hook and have done so for 13 years. I am a fierce advocate for the families of special needs children. And had a small part in the role of building what is the State Department of Education's Office of Dyslexia and Reading Disabilities. So this community is very, very important to me. Your stories are very, very important to me. And the last thing I'll ask or say is, anybody here from Newtown St. Hook? Okay, well, looking forward to hearing from all of you.
Hello, Representative. Hi, I'm Representative Tina Corpus. I represent the 149th District, which is Greenwich and Stamford, right here in Fairfield County. I'm here to listen and learn. The more we hear about your children's experiences, parents' experiences, educators, local boards of ed, both on the experiential and outcome side and on the funding side, the better policy decisions we can make. So I'm really looking forward to hearing from all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have some members joining on Zoom. If you want to unmute, can't see you here. If members on Zoom want to unmute one at a time and just introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm State Senator John Kissel from up here in North Central Connecticut, almost in Massachusetts. Looking forward to listening and learning as much as I can. Thank you to our chairs and my fellow ranking member, Tina. Bye-bye for the moment.
Thank you, Senator Kissel.
Oh, good evening. My name is Mary Wielander. I'm state representative for the 114th district. I cover Orange, Derby, Woodbridge, and Hamden, and I'm really happy to be hearing everyone tonight, and I apologize that I'm not there in person.
Hi, everyone. I'm Representative Leslie Zupkis. I serve Prospect, Bethany, part of Cheshire, and part of Waterbury. I'm really excited to be here. Special ed holds a special place in my heart as I work with people with intellectual and development disabilities for over 20 years, and just really excited to hear from you because special education is a big topic at the state. So thank you.
Okay, wonderful. We can't see, we don't have video of the Zoom call, so if there's anyone else, please feel free to unmute. Let me also recognize, I see Representative McCarthy-Vahey in the back, also represents Bridgeport and Fairfield. And if there are any, let me just acknowledge, because are there any other elected officials? I know we have Board of Ed member here, Joseph College. And so did all the elected officials stand? And we'd just like to thank you for taking the time to come out for whatever town. It doesn't have to be Bridgeport, any town you're from. But thank you for being here and taking the time to come out. So we're here really to listen to you.
I wanted to say hi. I'm Representative Susan Johnson, and I was having a hard time unmuting myself. But I represent the 49th House District, which is Wyndham, And I'm really honored to be here listening to everybody's, information on special education. It's an actual passion of mine, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you all. Thank you so much. Sorry about the delay.
Hi, this is Representative Hilda Santiago, and I represent Meriden. Thank you, and I'm happy to be here tonight.
Thank you, everyone. So for those who just came in, there's a QR code on the tables. If you want to speak and provide testimony, we're going to try to reserve the first portion anyway for teachers and parents. I think that's what we have anyway in our lineup. But please go ahead and use the QR code to sign up. And we have 2 microphones here. If you want to come up to this microphone so that the committee can see you when you're testifying, that would be great. And here we're here really to hear from you. So we're looking forward to those narratives. Let me just take one more minute to say, one thing that we've heard, particularly we're here to support the students, make sure that the school districts have the funding they need to support our students, and also to support our teachers. And one thing we've been hearing is, there's a critical shortage in special education when it comes to teachers. And we always talk about, and we're going to talk about now, the problems, right, which we want to hear, but we should remember how inspiring it is to be a teacher and what it means to be in the classroom and to hear from students long after they've left the school and what you meant to them. So I have a story here from my friend who's a special ed teacher. She's in the back of the room there, Miss Joy Cologne. And this is a letter that I won't name the student, but that the parent wrote to her for a student after they left school, and to show you what it means to be a teacher and why we need to create that pipeline. So here's the letter from the parent. "You have truly fostered a new level of confidence in my child through all your work and support in special education. My child walked through the doors of your school as an enthusiastic and excited leader, but also as a kid who was unsure of his capabilities. With your help and belief in him, he's blossomed into a young man with a heartfelt need to help others." That's why we're here, to keep inspiring teachers, to inspire their students, and support all of the work that's being done. So with that said, look forward to hearing from everyone. And I think the first speaker we have listed is Greg Davis. No. So Greg, sorry,
Yeah, so that was your test. So the only other thing I wanted to add is when you registered on the links, if you put yes or no for speaking, if you change your mind based on the discussion, that's absolutely okay. You can just come and see Kira, your students, our wonderful clerk for our committee, just let her know that you change your mind, and then we'll just call you. So if you put no, it's okay. All right, so the first speaker we have is Julian Schaefer. Again, this is the mic. And if you need anyone that, when we call, if you need interpretation, just let us know. We have interpreters here for Spanish and Portuguese.
And she mentioned that, and Kira's going to give a signal, right?
Oh, yes.
We have 3 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, so we ask that you limit to 3 minutes to allow everybody. We do have like a little 30-second left, just to give people a heads up. And then we'll let you know when the time's up. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Julian Schaefer. I've been a Bridgeport resident for 10 years, and I am a teacher at Danbury High School. I've also been for 10 years. I'm the NEA Danbury Vice President. I tried getting some Danbury High School peers of mine to come tonight. They had a difficult time. They're stretched thin. They couldn't make it down here. I will say, and Ms. Guy Power Products, I think like you mentioned, right, like it's great to highlight the wonderful things our teachers are doing. Our teachers are dedicated. I spoke to teachers at our high school before I came down here to ask, what are the things you want me to talk about? And many of them talked about, coming out of their own pocket to help students meet their IEP needs, right? We have teachers, I spoke to our department head who said she often has teachers taking a time out in her office crying in the middle of the day, which I think on one hand is a testament to the dedication that a lot of our teachers have and the love that they have for our students, but then also a testament to the stresses that they're under from the deep, really underfunding that our school is facing, and the pressures that this is adding on special ed students, our special ed teachers. Our teachers in our district are teaching extra classes without compensation. There's clear inequity there, right, for our special ed teachers. When I again spoke to our special ed department head at Danbury High School, she knows that what the teachers that we have, what they're doing with our students, with what they have, is incredible work. But she knows we could be serving our students so much better with the additional funding that we really need. We have. She also mentioned, caseloads haven't decreased over time, right? Our caseloads are about 16 students to a teacher in special ed. And she said, especially since COVID, but just with time, our special ed students have become much needier. So a caseload of 16 today is not the same thing as a caseload of 16 back in the day, or, like even 10 years ago, right? So we're seeing, and this really, I think, is a reflection of students across the board, right? But it's compounded, especially with the tight funding in special ed. I just wanted to come here to say really that we have incredible people doing incredible things, but they're under tremendous pressures. And the 40 million that Vermont has proposed, I don't think is nearly adequate for what our needs really are. So thank you.
This is our third stop because we've been hearing similar things, so we're really pulling together a pattern, especially around teacher needs, but every story helps, so thank you so much. Mark Hedrick? Okay, and just so you know, after Mark is David Ishmael.
Hi, Mark Hedrick. I'm a Senior Director of Education at Middle School. We're a private special education school. I've been about 7 years and spent 20 years in public education as a special ed teacher. So thank you for the opportunity to be able to come here and talk to all of you. I wanted to express my strong support for private special ed schools and to highlight the critical role they play in providing specialized, equitable programming for students with diverse needs. Our collective objective is to ensure that all children, regardless of their abilities or challenges, receive the education they deserve, one that is individualized, tailored to their strengths, and supportive of their unique learning components. Public schools, while striving to meet the needs of students with disabilities, often face significant challenges due to the limited resources and staffing shortages. With increasing demands and limited budgets, many public schools struggle to provide that individualized instructional support to students with complex learning needs. These are often not enough. There are often not enough specialized educators, therapists, or assistive technologies to address the wide range of needs present in the classroom. Furthermore, the increasing class sizes in diverse educational environments make it difficult for public schools to offer the level of personalized attention needed to help these students thrive. Private special ed schools, however, are specifically designed to meet these challenges. These schools offer smaller class sizes, highly trained staff, and tailored curricula that focus on the individual needs of the students. They provide not only academic instruction, but also therapeutic services, social skills development, behavioral interventions, and vocational training that support both short-term academic success and long-term independence. The specialized resources available in private special education schools make them an invaluable complement and partner to the public education system. That's important because we are partners with the public schools. One of the greatest benefits of private special education schools is the choice they offer to parents. How am I doing with time? Okay. Families often face difficult decisions when it comes to selecting the best educational settings for their children, especially when public schools lack the capacity to hold the needs of disabilities. We provide parents with the opportunity to choose a program that best supports their child's unique learning profile, enabling greater equity and access to appropriate educational resources. I urge you to support policies that expand access to these programs and empower families to choose the best educational options for their children. Thank you.
David?
ask you about is Tom Kennedy.
I want to thank you for having me here today. I'm the father of twins with autism, and I raised both my boys by myself. The struggles my child went through in 3 different states before we settled in Connecticut was nothing shy of a nightmare. Marquette Brick came to my home, brought my son into a school where he has done nothing but blossom. My son will be graduating in this year. He's going to go to a day program, but for the rest of his life, it's important that we understand that, you know what, the only time we should be looking down on those less fortunate is when we're bringing them back to their feet. Okay? And to me, it doesn't end with my son. This is a great organization. I'm a little emotional, I'm sorry. But it's going to be very important that this is for the long term and for the long run. And I've been blessed. My son has been remarkable. His expectations, what I thought, were superseded by the work that they put in, from aides to teachers to the director. The whole organization has really put their time and best effort in with these parents. And I can say that my child, I don't know that kid anymore. He's just amazing. I come in, he's shredding paper, taking out garbage, educating himself. They sent me a video, he was, and they said, okay, David, sit down and do your work. And it was over with. Had I tried that, that wouldn't happen to me. But I just want to emphasize the importance that this is a journey we need to continue. It really is, because look at me today. My son's a member of society. And just because he doesn't speak doesn't mean he doesn't have something to say. And thank you for your time.
Diana Marchetti.
Good evening. I was not going to speak. I couldn't help it.
Sorry.
That's okay. My name is Tom Kennedy. I am a USO Connecticut Education Association. I represent about 850 teachers, 1,850 teachers in Danbury, in Ridgefield, in Bethel, and in Sherman. So I have very wealthy districts. I have very challenged districts. I have tiny districts, and I have a very large district. One of the things that connects everyone is special education. And it's not just special education students, it's regular mainstream students that are impacted that as well. Statutorily, legally, these districts are obligated to provide those special education services. When they are stretched, often what is challenged are the regular education teachers. They pull up the slack, those students suffer. When a regular student, regular education student is suffering from a temporary mental health issue, they can't get in to see a psychologist, a school psychologist. They can't get in to see a school social worker because they're swamped. A town like Bethel, a town like Sherman, you get a couple of kids that are outplaced, and because of the funding, because of the excess cost grant, which is underfunded as it is, it's devastating for those towns. I live in Shelton. A couple of years ago, we had 5 new kids that came that were outplaced, with an additional more than $500,000 on a very tight budget. The formula is broken. The obligation between the federal government, the state government, and the local governments to support our special education services is just not there, and the only one bearing that cost are the local towns. And they can't bear that anymore without it coming from somewhere. So either our special education students are going to suffer, or our regular education students are going to suffer, but somebody is. I look at the special education funding as it's unifying. ECS is kind of divisive. You know, if you give more to Danbury, you're not going to give more to Ridgefield. But if you fund it based on special education students and make sure that that money goes directly to the Board of Education, so the town can take off a part of that, that funding is going to go where it needs to. Danbury, we see 10 or so special education teachers leave every year to another district because, as Julian said, they're overworked. They're teaching 6 classes. They can go to another town, make more money, have an easier load. We've got to equalize this. Thank you.
definitely our most strong ones, so, thank you. So actually, if Rick Vaughn is our next speaker?
Thank you everyone for doing this. I'm Rick Vaughn. I'm a special ed teacher at Danbury. I've been in Danbury for 34 years. Prior to that, I worked in a private school, been in for office divisions. I speak from experience and also from what my colleagues have told us. In Danbury, we are struggling. We've been underfunded for the past 22 years at least, and it's showing in a way that, as Tom mentioned, that teachers are fleeing our district. We're often have undercover classes, filling in those gaps. In the special ed realm, the caseloads have increased incredibly. The CT says program that has added extra time to what the people are doing. It becomes almost natural for some folks who are double up with some of the classes. Another important factor, special education funding, is the support staff. Our teacher aides, they've been fleeing Danbury to go to other districts in Housatonic or Bethel or Richfield because they're offering more money. These people are key for our students. They just make that extra connection. They're so special in the one-on-one situations, and they've made such a difference in so many children's lives. The extra money will definitely help. There's so many issues in education now that are beyond special education, because we are seeing special education now, that and it's a microcosm of what's going on across the country, in our state, where people are not coming into the field. And that needs to be something that's addressed at the state legislative level, whether it's increased funding for urban districts, that maybe some type of stipend for special ed teachers or teachers themselves, perhaps allowing the state income tax to have a waiver for teachers. Perhaps maybe someone who's come into the state would say that, hey, this is maybe a job I can do for a short period of time. Just some ideas that are out there for folks. Again, increasing salaries, those type of things. Appreciate you guys listening. Thank you very much.
And for people who came in after we made this announcement, if you want to sign up to speak, there are QR codes on the table that you can sign up, and then just we're keeping a running list. We're trying to, at least the first portion, prioritize parents and teachers. We see there are some public officials and superintendents who signed up, and we're going to come back to you. So we won't skip. Oh, okay. We'll make one exception because we see our board members. So and you are next. We're skipping over you, Joe. All right. So we'll turn it over to Joe.
All right. Thank you, Senators, representatives. I appreciate you. I just got a meeting at 6. I'll avoid meetings ago. So tonight I'm here to thank you for coming out and putting a focus on special education. Special education is a big cost driver. By the way, I'm a finance chair with the Bridgeport Board of Education, and I see this every year of my tenure. Special education is a very big pressure on our budget. So any money we could get is easy. I've got a cost-neutral way to get about $3 million into Bridgeport Public Schools and all of our urban districts, probably New Haven and all this will be beneficial. Bridgeport has approximately 11,000 charter school students. The ECS is about $11,000 per student. That's $121 million being taken away from traditional charter schools, and we have more than enough seats to cover. I mentioned charter schools in relation to special education because one thing that 11,000 ECS follows the student, but doesn't follow the student, is the special education costs. Those costs are borne by the districts. In Bridgeport, with 3,800 charter school students, that amounts to about $40 million of losing in ECS and approximately $3 million in service fees. Furthermore, the system is inefficient because we got to send our psychologists, our social workers, to a bigger footprint of schools. Some as far as New Haven from time to time, because we got students at other side. So while these teachers and these professionals are driving an hour, 2 hours round trip, they're not providing services. So if you could just go look at the bills. Have the they like to say let the money follow the student, let the expenses follow them too. The OECS has just recently equalized that in public school students. So we got to stop having districts pick up students where we're not responsible for them. We don't have any say in how the money is spent on. And we can utilize that money better for our special education students that we see every day, and not have our teachers and staff driving around to 6 to 8 different schools.
Okay, so I think next we have Tommy Trena.
Listening to speaking on this. My name is Tommy Tran, representing my daughter Caroline Tran. We're from Norwalk, Connecticut. I was born and raised in Connecticut and grew up in Stanford actually. So I went through the school system in Stanford. I thought it was a fantastic school at the time. When I was in elementary school, I went through some type of like enrichment program. We went to like curriculum school where we did like, it was almost like STEM stuff, and that heavily influenced my education experience. Went to school at UConn. I'm a civil engineer now, licensed engineer here in Connecticut. I work for Engineer, so it's just, I think it was like all the research put in education put me where I am here today. And you know, my family's all here, my brothers and sisters were all here. We love Connecticut, we love the healthcare that's here. And my hopes and dreams is to have the same kind of educational support for my daughters and my whole family, really, especially for my daughter Caroline, who's basically special needs, she has a genetic disorder. And I see all the work and effort that all the teachers go through. I see how thinly stretched they are. You know, there's the PTOs, they're always engaged, always asking to help us out. We're always doing things, contributing. You know, just even basic things like tissues, hand sanitizers, donations of crayons, everything like that. So just seeing just the baseline education system stretched so thin, there's extra concern for me and my other daughter who has special needs. She needs extra support. So the overall baseline is kind of underpointed. I'm super concerned about the general education requirements too. So just wanted to mention that. Thank you so much again for listening to me.
Thank you so much. One of the things we talked about is thinking about special education as part of a continuum of education, both general education, even early education, early interventions, all the way through, you know, transitions to higher education even. So thank you for that. And then we have Christina Myers. Hello, Christina.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sujata. She and I are good friends. But I'm here today to talk a little bit about my son's experience as a special ed student in Trimble, and why I think that unfortunately there were some things that were failures that. So I'm a parent of twin 12-year-olds, one who is still in public school and one who I withdrew from school 1 month ago in order to educate him at home. I never expected that I would become a homeschool parent. I've always been a strong supporter of public schools. In fact, Sujata knows this, I ran for Board of Education in Trumbull, and I serve as an alternate on the Board of Finance, which of course has a key role to play in the funding of our schools. My son is not a student who's enjoyed school, but he was always able to attend all the way up until 4th grade when things really went haywire. At the end of 1st grade, however, he was starting to be evaluated to understand his special needs are related to literacy. He had begun to get intervention for literacy at the end of kindergarten. That was a pandemic time, so unfortunately his evaluations didn't continue through the end of that trimester. We picked him up in the beginning of 2nd grade. I was happy when he got the diagnosis from happy adult education program. Thank you for reading that. I was happy that he began to receive really dedicated and important interventions related to dyslexia. In 3rd grade was really the last time that he was able to attend school on a regular basis. He had only 5 absences in that year. However, 4th grade, for whatever reason, the demands of what was happening, perhaps he was starting to notice the real differences between what his reading skills are versus his peers versus his twin sister. I don't really know, but his anxiety levels really began to skyrocket. He had 25 absences that year. 110 tardies. And this was not me as a parent refusing to bring him to school. This was me doing the very level best I could to get him out the door and to the school. And ultimately, his elementary school did their level best as well. We created weird strategies to get him into the building, including offering him fake jobs to do in the office. Literally, I would spend almost every morning calling his elementary school, talking to the administrative assistants in the office, who would say to my son, Caleb, we really need you to do this job in the office. And they would convince him to come in and he would do busy work for them until he felt calmer and would go to his classroom. Or he would be offered the opportunity to sit in the psychologist's office for a bit, or his special ed teacher's office for a bit until he got calmer. Fifth grade, things evened out a little bit. He had only 19 absences that year, but 47 hurries. And I tell you, the amount of effort I put into getting to school on those days is something no parent should have to go through. Please, I'd like to, if you don't mind. But what helped him in fifth grade to have only those 19 hurries was a paraeducator in his classroom by the name of Keisha Evans. And if this name sounds familiar to any of you, she actually won Connecticut State Paraeducator of the Year last year. In part, I think, for how much she actually helped my son, as well as all the other kids in that classroom, including the students she was actually assigned to work with, right? As I'm sure all you know, paras are helping out in all kinds of ways beyond the student that they were paired up to work with. So my son has had an IEP for several years, but nothing in his IEP had anything related to social and emotional. It's all related to his dyslexia. Despite all of the conversations we had in every PBT meeting with the psychologist, and despite all of the challenges that he had, we still didn't have that addressed. And perhaps it's a failure on my part. Maybe I needed to be asking more. Maybe I needed to have more evaluations. So this year, he's in sixth grade, transitions to middle school, and that entire environment was far too much for him to handle. My husband and I were begging the school for assistance. We were asking for some sort of other setting. We were asking for evaluations. Ultimately, in the October timeframe, I think, we had a PBT meeting and they offered psychological evaluations. And I replied, well, when I got the consent forms, will any of this possibly screen for autism? Because I started to think perhaps my son is on the autism spectrum and we just missed the signs. And they said, no, they won't. We need another PBT for us to be able to request that. So more weeks go by, and my son gets more and more agitated. He had 47 absences this year until January 10th, which was the day that I withdrew him from school. I want to just ask you to just wrap up, but thank you for. So I don't know what you can do legislatively to address this. Perhaps it's more funding for understanding and evaluating psychiatric or emotional needs of students. I know that there's a pilot program in Trumbull to do just that, and it actually includes the other middle school, not the school my son is at. Perhaps it is more about the education, cost reimbursement funds, because I don't know why my son wasn't offered a therapeutic setting school, even though he didn't have an evaluation, even though we don't actually know what his diagnosis is. Clearly, if there's anybody that could have benefited from that setting, it would have been him. So I suspect that a lot of that was a budget reason. And honestly, at this point, I had to withdraw because it was just too much. So that's what I wanted to share with you. And again, I don't know exactly how we as legislators could to address some of these, but those are some systemic failures that really ought not to be happening. Thank you. Thank you.
It's not just you, other parents have testified as well. Thank you, and sorry to hear about your struggles. And you and I will talk. We'll talk more too. So we will incorporate that into the work we're doing. Thank you, Jen. Can we go this next?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Jenny Kino, and I am the facility manager at Alliance for Community Development. Alliance is a Head Start program, and as you know, one of the Head Start program requirements is for at least 10% of the enrolled children to have either an IEP or an IFSP. Right now, we have 22% of the children in our program have an IEP and an IFSP. one of the issues that we are encountering in our program since last year, since December 2023, children that were found eligible for services and were issued IEP through the Bridgeport Board of Education did not receive the services. They did not receive the services based on the fact that Bridgeport failed to provide these children with classrooms. We had a list, and we worked very closely with SCANE, who I was in touch with for days, trying to figure something out. Unfortunately, nothing was figured out. I asked for these children to be switched from shared placement to enhancement. That wasn't provided either. Right now, we're facing the same situation. We have children with IEPs, and they are not getting the services. I just spoke with SCAN yesterday, who was able to confirm that any child that is found eligible for shared placement will not be receiving the services, and that we just need to contact the parents or the program or just have conversations with them. As we all know, IEPs are a legal document. One of the things that I found on a child that recently had a BPT and qualified for shared placement and he's on the wait list, is that in the back of his IEP, where it says that he's supposed to be getting services for the year 24-25, there's no services for him there. And he said services are to be started in the school year 25-26. I think we need to do better. Our teachers are not photo-ed, they're not specialized teachers, and we have classrooms with 5, 6, 7 children with IEPs, and it's very challenging, especially when they're not going to be receiving the services.
Simran?
Hi, good evening. Thank you. My name is Cindy Collier. I am a Bridgeport resident. I have 2 children in special education, one who is majoring through Central High School, and my son, who I first talked about tonight, is at Oak Hill. Mark, 2.5 years ago, at the height of Christian going through puberty, he has been in special education and outsourced since he was in kindergarten. He originally from the Stanford district, went to school in New York. He's gone through quite a few schools here in the state. After a year that required quite a bit of police, fire, and ambulance support for his ability to cope and manage, he was admitted to the Solent Center, where he spent a year. And he was deemed ineligible to continue education or to continue to get medical support. They had said that they were unable to provide that to him. The cost for that was just over $1 million in the state for the year. After he was discharged, because they said they could no longer handle him, he was discharged back to me, and 24 hours later we had police at their door asking how he would be educated, while I was able to get him medically managed, not a single school in the state was willing to take him after reviewing the file, except the phone call that we got from Mark, who said, I read the file, but I'd like to meet your son. He did. He accepted him into the school there, and my son has been the person that I have had dreams about him becoming since he started there. He is on track to graduate. He is on track to be a contributing member to society, to have a job. He is happy. I tell the story, in much greater length about things that have gone on, but I summarize it after the first week of school when Mark called me to ask how Christian was doing, and I reported what he had said to me, which was that everybody likes me and nobody thinks that I'm stupid. And in that moment, I realized that for his whole life until he was 15, that he didn't think anybody liked him and that everybody thought he was stupid. Oak Hill has provided us the ability to be a family, At the time that Christian was accepted into Oak Hill, we were in a expensive and lengthy court series where we were fighting to keep Christian at home and DCF was fighting for removal. And in that scenario, had Oak Hill not stepped in, he would probably be in a group home, probably in another state, and probably costing so much more than it is costing to educate him. My son has learned to read, he is writing, he is friendly, he is a joy, and it has brought us so much love as a family that I know you can't put a price tag on it, but I can tell you it's more than they're getting. The staff is amazing there, and they have worked a miracle, and my son is one of many, many who have this story. And while it's very, very difficult for special needs parents to be able to make appearances of this, I can tell you I'm representing hundreds of families who feel the same way. So thank you for your time. Thank you so much. Leslie? Melissa?
Representatives, senators, thank you for being here tonight. My name is Leslie Bledsoe. I'm a teacher, parent, and resident in New Haven. I've been a teacher since 2007. My daughter's a fourth grader in New Haven Public Schools. I'm the current president of the New Haven Federation of Teachers, pre-K-12 divisional vice president for AFT Connecticut, and the steering committee chair for Connecticut for All, statewide coalition fighting for a better future for everyone in Connecticut. So I'm testifying here today for our representatives to hear us, but also so Governor Lamont can hear us, so that we take seriously the special education crisis that's impacting students throughout our state. So first and foremost, we know our schools, particularly in underfunded districts like New Haven and Bridgeport, we need more financial support from the state of Connecticut. We know there are incredible surpluses at the state level, and we need our leaders to adjust the fiscal roadblocks and deliver resources to our communities. We also need to stay on a path of sustainable revenue. So we need to make our tax system more progressive so that the ultra wealthy pay what they owe so we can fund the services we know we need. We're one of the richest states in the richest country in the world. We're facing cuts from the Trump administration. Our students deserve better. So here are some suggestions. Can we revise the educational cost share formula to include weights for special education students? Can we expand the excess cost grant so school districts have the resources we need to support our students locally in our districts? Can we establish caseload caps or at least recommended ratios for our SED teachers and related service providers? Burnout and depletion is real right now. We need interventions so we can comply with our students' IEPs. We need regulation on outplacement centers. Tuition increases are skyrocketing, we can't keep up. And we're very concerned about takeover by private equity firms. Why are private corporations preying on vulnerable students and trying to make a profit? This is exactly why we need government to intervene. So I represent over 1,750 hardworking educators in New Haven, and I hear their stories. Educators who used to have 15 students on their caseload, who now are managing caseloads and paperwork of 30 students. Social workers who have to keep up with Medicaid paperwork, crisis management, and student support, all while being the only social worker in their school of over 500 students. School psychologists working in multiple buildings. We're outsourcing speech language pathology because we can't keep up with the shortages. Thank you. But not to mention our paraprofessionals are overworked and underpaid. Add this to the complexity of trying to meet the needs of a large multilingual student population, and there's no surprise why people are burnt out. So we're really looking to you all and to Governor Lamont to adjust the guardrails, get funding in place, make sure that there's revenue coming through from the wealthiest people, 17 billionaires in this state. There is a path forward, and we are grateful, and I'll close here, for the House and the Senate prioritizing special ed. That is music to people's ears. So let's really see it through and make sure that the supports are in place. Our students deserve a world-class education. Thank you.
Oh.
Thanks for your testimony.
Yeah.
You listed a variety of different ideas, strategies to fund special education. From your perspective, which one of those, which two of those, do you think would provide the biggest return on investment for students?
I think adding special education students to the educational cost share formula is a step in the right direction. And I know, it's not every day that union leaders agree with mayors and superintendents. And this is an issue where there is unity among mayors, union leaders, and superintendents. And Connecticut has the resources to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Great, Joy Cole.
Thank you all for being here. When I got here, I took a picture of them. I'm a student absolutely obsessed with politics. So I can't wait to show the picture tomorrow. That said, I have the great fortune and privilege of being an educator for over 25 years. I happen to live in Trumbull, teach in Stanford, teach summer school in Greenwich, and I've taught in New York City. So I've gotten to see a whole gamut of a number of things over the years. But I'm here for students who have special needs, and I'm here for all children, because there's no such thing as other people's children. And I'm fortunate enough to work with all of our children serving Fairfield County. Thanks to Chef versus O'Neill, I'm in an interdistrict magnet school. In my specific school, the number of students have increased, yet the number of teachers have decreased. So I started a long time ago with about 15 students, now I'm at about 30. I started this school year with 30 students. You can only imagine what that looks like. Please fund the general education and interventions to support all children. Because special education is not going to be so special if everyone's in it. So it's a real issue. Here in high school, I mean, it's supposed to be 10% of the population. Post-COVID, it's not. We're on our 13th PPT1 in a high school. That means that K through 9th grade missed something. That's probably not the case, but there's such a deficit in what students are turning out. And parents, please make your kids read. These kids are on screens, my speeches, but they're on these screens and they're not reading books. They have no reference. Reading goes hand in hand with writing, and if you're not doing those things, you can't apply for all the other applications to schooling. It's all connected. But, understaffing and underpayment equals underachievement. So please invest in us and in this movement. We can't survive here in this state without some more money because the cost of living has gone up. So I'm very dedicated to what I do. I get offered a new job every single week. I haven't taken them yet, but it's coming because my mortgage just went up. So thank you.
I love it. Everyone's supporting each other and we're all agreeing with it. So it's great. We have a great committee too, by the way, to do this work. Okay, so Jennifer Hayes.
Yes, I am Jennifer Hayes. I'm a proud Bridgeport public school teacher. This is my 32nd year in special ed. I was on my way home because it's been a long week, even though it's only Tuesday, and my daughter, who's a clerk, reminded me of today's meeting and said to me, my biggest role has always been to provide my school kids what my own kids have always had. So I turned around and I came back, and I just wanted to say, I see a former parent in the back. I know I've spoken to my parents about coming. The parents that I work with are proud and love their children very much, but they feel funny about speaking publicly. So I also thought that I should come. I did want to tell you that I am so appreciative of this committee. Like I said, it's my 32nd year. This is the first time I've ever heard special ed issues in this state to be addressed in this avenue. That's a long time to have people not talking about special education. And I'm just going to reiterate what somebody said. The case numbers are too high. It's too high. It's crazy. I work at Winthrop School, proudly. When I first started there were 8 resource room teachers. There are now only 4. I was a resource room teacher my whole life. 2 days before school started, my administrator called me to say, that the RISE self-contained classroom would once again not have a certified teacher. And would I please take it? I love what I do. I'll be honest with you, I will not do it next year if things continue this way. I have 13 kids. I've heard people mention there has to be a cap. It has to be capped. How many kids in self-contained classes? How many kids per special ed teacher? There is no way to be as effective as we would hope to be. Again, thank you for the opportunity just to meet with you and see faces, and I look forward to the work. I feel like Dr. Avery really is trying to, and the special ed staff is trying to address some of the long-standing issues that we have had in Bridgeport. So I think we're on a positive note with your help. It's a huge, huge area of need, and I appreciate your time.
Members of the Select Committee on Special Education, my name is Jeff Forte. I'm the founding partner of Forte Law Group, which is a practice that exclusively represents families that have a child with disability in advancing their special education. My family and I live in Bethany, Connecticut, and I represent families that go through the PPT process, through mediation, all the way to the process. I currently serve on the board of directors for this nonprofit SED of Connecticut, and I also serve on the executive committee for the Connecticut Bar Association Education Law Section. Here are my frontline impressions on what needs to be immediately addressed within the 2025 General Assembly agenda as related to special education. Number one, we've heard already that there is a special education staffing shortage. Okay, I firsthand see that when I go to DPT meetings. Investigations have regularly found systemic failures in Connecticut special education programs because of staffing. Not the staffing that are there, but because the lack of staffing. Inadequate staffing levels, lack of proper training. These are deficiencies that we cannot compromise for our children. It's leading to a lack of fidelity in the IEP implementation. Number two, CT SED's implementation. This process was supposed to streamline special education for educators, administrators, and parents. It's been a failure. Okay? Educators and parents alike will report that the system is burdensome and time-consuming. I think we've heard from a teacher just say that before. This is leading to increased workloads of overworked staff that want to help kids rather than going through the software that they've not been appropriately trained or onboarded to implement. Parents also have difficulty downloading the software, so that they're calling public schools just to get the IEP rather than using the software. It's been an utter disaster. Number three, IEP eligibility category developmental delay. This one I don't think you know is an issue, but it is. I understand that there's legislation where you're supposed to be extending the developmental delay eligibility category from the age of 5 to 8 or 9. This is going to lead in delays in identifying specific disabilities. And you're going to kick the road down the can with identifying more targeted disability. The Connecticut Autism Eligibility Checklist needs to be overhauled. Okay, it is not meeting the needs for your high-functioning autistic type of student persona. We need more mental health providers in our schools. And lastly, I don't know if you've thought about this, but there is issues with the DES age-out policy that affect residential placements for students that are in districts. And that needs to be looked at because the two agencies don't talk with each other. And when a child needs a residential placement 1 year prior to age out within DES, it causes issues for both agencies. Thank you very much for your time.
Annalisa Robertson.
Hi, everyone. I'm Annalisa Robertson. I am currently a public school teacher in Stanford. I have been teaching for 23 years. I've taught in both public and private schools, special ed settings. right now I run an autism program that's self-contained, and I've been in this position for 6 years. This is my 11th year working exclusively with autism. Just want to give you some data. Stanford currently outplaces 172 students, and this costs us $28,696,000 with $3.5 million in transportation. I've heard some parents speak about the amazing opportunities their students have once they're in a private school. I can attest to that. But at the same time, I do believe that districts should be creating their own special ed academies where we can have therapeutic environments and don't have to pay such outrageous fees. For our town, that's $166,000 per outplaced students. In comparison to the $21,000 that we pay per pupil in general ed, the discrepancy is just so great. And I do think that we have the talent, we have amazing teachers. When I worked at the private schools, it was just me, same me. But I taught $1 million worth of Stanford students. They were all in just one classroom of mine, and I'm the same person. I just think that we need to be a little more thoughtful with our spending. We are losing 9 special ed teachers in Stanford. And I personally get $45 for my classroom. I've spent $400 this year so far. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Oh, also, I just want to say my town is trying to be mindful of outplacing students, and so they really try to keep them in our classrooms. So I have a mix of students who are high functioning, and some students who really need to be in a different environment because they don't want to outplace them. I'm faced with really aggressive students within my classroom, very lengthy process of data collection, then developing a behavior plan, and then implementing that behavior plan. And so I have students who are academically capable, but have to learn in an environment with students who are flipping tables, hitting teachers, biting people. It doesn't make sense. So really what I propose is in-district academies, and I believe it can be done and done successfully in the town area. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, and thank you for being here. My name is Paul Angelucci. I started as a high school teacher in the tech system. I taught 9th grade plumbing, so I gave every 14-year-old a blowtorch. But I appreciate every SPED teacher there is. But I wanted to come here tonight to just talk about the perfect storm that I'll call it VOTEC or CTEX, VOTEC for the older generation, we're having right now. We have 1,350 teachers. We have 17 comprehensive high schools that are reporting in Connecticut. We have 11,800 kids. Post-COVID, though, our special ed numbers have doubled in 3 years. And as we mentioned here, in many ways, many times about funding. And we draw from all 149 towns. 149. So each school, the 17 comprehensive, take from about 19 to 23 sending towns there. And our special ed numbers have just exploded, and the staff, obviously, as you learned, has not. So we have caseloads of 30 and 40. Marion worked in one of our schools prior to taking office, but we're in a perfect storm because we now, the VOTEC system became their own agency 2 years ago. And kind of mismanaged. We had a vote of no confidence. We had a commissioner removed. We have a brand new one. It's only been a couple months. I did see in the biennial, that the governor did allot 12 million extra dollars to quote unquote keep up with, keep up with the cost for its current spending. But we were 20 million in the hole prior to that for 2 years. So now with the SED, special ed numbers exploding, we really were in a bind with special ed. And our shops are not like your average high school, right? We have, machines, lathes, we take them out and build houses. Like, I had to drive a bus with my own classroom and go out and build a house. So, we just want the legislatures like yourself aware that the funding and following the student is so important. I thank you for what you're doing. It's said a couple times, Leslie, I'm also an AFT regional vice president as well, but Leslie said when lawyers and superintendents and union officials are all agreeing, we got to be on the right track. So thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer Gilbert.
I also just want to remind folks that if you put no, but you change your mind and you want to say yes, please come and see Kira. Kira's not there, not sure. Just let her know.
Good evening and thank you. I'm a proud Bridgeport education teacher. I teach at Bridgeport Learning Center, which is a self-contained special education school for children who have behavioral challenges. I am also a member of the Bridgeport Education Association and serve as a special education chairperson. I am a strong advocate for my kids, students, and our community. We need certified, qualified special education teachers in our classrooms, not substitutes. We need self-contained classes that have cap sizes. We need special education caseload caps. We need resources for our special education teachers, programming that meets our kids' needs. We need mental health professionals, social workers, psychologists, counselors, therapeutic support facilitators, paraprofessionals, interventionalists, all these people that support our kids. We have classrooms without special education teachers teaching our kids that are in self-contained classrooms. We know there is a crisis. We are doing everything we as special education teachers can do to meet our kids' needs. People need to listen to us teachers, the ones that are in the classroom that teach the kids. And that's all we need is our voices to be heard. Especially the people in the classrooms, the people managing the caseloads. We don't have enough of us. We do everything we possibly can each and every day. And we just need the support. We need more people. That's what we want, is more people in our classroom meeting our kids' needs. We can't teach our kids if we don't have the mental health services that we need for them. And like I said, I teach behaviorally challenged children. And until they can get their behaviors under control, they are not going to reach the curriculum. So stop cutting our mental health professionals, our counselors, and get us certified special ed teachers, not these substitutes. Thank you.
It's really been very impactful for the community, and a very bipartisan committee, I should say, committed to this and to doing better. So thank you very much. Christine Martinez, please.
I just want to reiterate what so many have said already, that I'm so appreciative that we were all here doing this work, because this is my, I'm going to say it out loud, 29th year as a special educator in the state of Connecticut, and I have not seen this happen before. I want to talk a little bit about funding, like other people have, so I'm excited to hear that you guys are even considering lowering the threshold for excess costs. Because we know that the urban districts have struggled and they need support. I'm gonna also say that so do the suburban districts and the small rural districts. I teach in a district right now where currently our threshold is $135,000 for excess cost reimbursement.
So it's next to impossible to reach that threshold for some of our small communities where our per pupil cost is so high because we have tiny little schools that have to be staffed and they have to provide services for students, which then increases that threshold for us. So I'm excited to hear that that's something we're all considering, and I would really support that. I also want to thank the parents that came out today, because I think I can't fathom what it must be like for them to get up here in this forum and tell their stories. But every single one of our communities has those families that are really struggling. We're seeing students with more significant needs than we've ever seen, at least for me and my experience in education, that don't have wraparound services. They're just not existent. So it's very difficult to find psychiatrists, psychologists. So schools become the hub for all of those things for families, and we just really don't have the resources. We were never set up for that. Our staffing levels, as someone had mentioned, have not been consistent with the increase in student needs. And I think it was a key work that I want to piggyback on saying that we are not having conversations with DES, with DMIS, with DCF. And so we're all fighting over the same pot of money, but it may be for the same families. So how do we have those coordinated efforts in place so that we're all helping families by wrapping around them, because families are really struggling right now, but so are schools. And we cannot be everything to everybody if we don't have the funding. And so I also want to piggyback on what other people have said, in that our staffing is being impacted by funding. Thank you. The funding isn't available, and the more teachers are feeling overburdened with the work. They're stressed, they're overwhelmed, and they're leaving. And sadly, we're not seeing people come out of the education programs. So colleges are closing those programs because, quite honestly, I think people are saying to their children or their friends' children, don't go into education, it's too hard right now. So if we don't start to get those resources to our schools, we're just going to continue to lose staff. So I thank you all.
And Emily Bloom, Shepherd.
Hello, thank you so much for being here today and for hearing. I just wanted to call out my family's role or travel through special ed, especially with my oldest, who is 10 years old, and we are in the Trumbull district. I really want to put a major emphasis on the importance of early education and intervention as it relates to tech ed. It was such a blessing for our family, and what started a journey of identifying what my son's special need was began with the early literacy goals that he received at the preschool level going into his elementary school. And so I'd really love for there to be a sense and an understanding towards those types of interventions. And then also as it relates to earmarking funding for dyslexia and language development. If not having received the curriculum at the preschool level and then already going in with those language goals in kindergarten, I don't think he would have made the progress that he's made, even being a part of the pandemic kindergarten class. And experiencing a large part of his first grade year, actually his entire first grade year, at home, because it was better for his speech services to be able to see the speech pathologist, actually form the words instead of wearing a mask. That was a very crazy time. I also wanted to put a plug in now that he's older and he is in towards the fourth grade. This plan required him to kind of step back a grade. To put in a plug for greater funding or acknowledgement for phonics and then grammar and the way that we structure our sentences. as it relates to the increase of more like text to speech and speech to text, having more understanding for kids who are really mechanical and are learning really the nuts and bolts of how to put together a word or how to put together a sentence, and how that relates to using more of like an AI text to speech kind of experience. I'd love to see there being some type of focus on how that progresses, what kind of data can we show as they get into middle school, as they get into high school, and even into college, because this technology is coming, and it's wonderful, and it's amazing, and it's going to help our students be able to articulate themselves when their intellectual selves are a bit more progressed than maybe their writing and other communicator skills. But I don't want to see my son or students like him lose the ability to properly write down, a sentence, and to be able to communicate as they get into adulthood. I would also be really interested and excited to see the bridge programs. I know I have another resident here talking about the experience from preschool to elementary school to middle school, and so on and so forth. Some kind of bridge program for parents. And I have a second son. I don't want to leave him out. There was another person who spoke about these services that are intervention. He has been such a wonderful candidate for the not special ed, but the, he needs a little extra boost. And for him, that works great. He does receive a 504 plan, and I see with his struggle a need for a one-to-one tapping service just to help him get through. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Let me just add one thing, in terms of resources, we also had a task force, by the way. Some of the recommendations that are being made were also made by the task force. They had a presentation and then a full report. That's available on our website. If you go on our committee website, the Select Committee for Special Education, all of that information is there, plus other resources. So just want you to know that there are some shared suggestions as well and recommendations that we're looking at. And so we have a few more speakers. Kristen Navarro.
Hi, my name is Ms. Navarro. I'm an ABA tutor at Wilshire Elementary School in Stratford. As of October, my head teacher has been on maternity leave, and so I've been running the classroom in her place. I just wanted to piggyback off what Jennifer Gilbert said earlier. It's been 3 months and I've had 3 different subs come in. Nobody's communicating to the parents that we've had a change of head teacher, even though I'm still running programs, amazing kids, and planning materials and crafts, and I'm spending my own money on that because we only have a $50 budget a month. So I've been pouring pretty much my heart and my soul into the classroom. I've had these same kids that I've had for 3 years now. This is my 3rd year with them. When I've had meetings with my advisor, with my head of special education in Stratford, I've had meetings with my head of HR. When I brought up to my advisor that it's just getting a little bit too much for me because I'm stretching myself thin with no support in the classroom, she suggested that I be a building sub instead. So it's honestly, I know a lot of young people that want to get into this. Sorry, I'm not good at public speaking, so I'm nervous. But I know a lot of young people that want to work in special education, super passionate about what they do. I love the kids. I've grown with them, I've taught them how to use the bathroom, how to order from a menu, I'm not only teaching them math skills, I'm teaching them social skills, life skills, I get really emotional when I speak about these things because I'm actively telling people on my committee that I'm watching my kids regress without consistency in the classroom, and no one is listening to me. I don't know how you expect more people to want to be in special education when you don't listen to the young people who are passionate about what they're doing. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Just for taking the time to be here and to provide this testimony. We really, really appreciate it. Marilyn Deshawn.
Hi, Shannon. I'm a Bridgeport resident. My daughter goes to Bridgeport Public Schools. I'm here tonight to talk from the perspective of speech and anthropologist. So I work primarily in Bridgeport and other towns. I work in sorry, I'm nervous. I work for birth to 3 and I also do occupational therapy. So I'm just here as a way to advocate for my clients and parents. My heart's breaking for my families because I'm getting children who have IEPs through these school districts, and from an outpatient perspective, I'm their most consistent therapy and just like services. They're going to a regular daycare and they're supposed to be receiving, special education and speech therapy at their school, and they're not getting that. And the parents are telling me, oh, they told me they'll make it up at some point, but let's be realistic. Unfortunately, funding and not the teachers are not getting those services, and it's just really sad because I should be extra help for them. And then I have parents from birth to 3 that are they're scared about bringing their child into a school district that's underfunded because they don't know what's going to happen. And we're doing our best to educate them and advocate, but they're just scared because they don't know what's going to happen next. And early intervention is just so important. But I think about, as a Bridgeport resident, I think about my clients who, are doing their best to change their schedule around to bring their child for outpatient therapy, to get that extra speech therapy, because they're not really getting it in schools. And not every family can do that. They can't work their schedule around. And their child should be able to still get the services that's on their IEP, which is that legal document. And lastly, the daycares, these teachers, they're not educated in special education, so they're trying their best to take care of these kids. And since the parents aren't getting the child's not getting the services at their daycare, this child has a side just not receiving anything. Anyway, just to wrap it up, is early intervention is so important. It's just really unfortunate that they're not getting these services that are on that legal document.
Tracy Jenkins.
Just got started that. I'm a special education teacher in Danbury, and this is my 23rd year. I want to start by saying that there are not enough mental health service providers, and our students need that now more than ever. Our students need a full-time social worker and psychologist and adult therapists in order to get these services. In addition, I think the lack of speech, OT and PT, are building a full year without a speech teacher. So our students have not had speech for an entire year, and you can see the decrease in their ability. And it's really sad because it's a legal document, and like we heard from everyone else, it shouldn't be that way. We don't have enough paraeducators for the number of students who need the support. We can't do our jobs without them, and they're an essential piece to the students' education program. The parents that we do have don't get paid nearly enough for the amazing job that they do. they don't get paid enough because we don't have the money to pay them. We need money. In addition to that, there's a high turnover rate of staff, and I'm sure it's not just Danbury, I'm sure it's across the state. So there's no consistency for following an IEP. Turnover is happening because we are burnt out. We're burnt out because we have too much paperwork and no time to do it. We have to take data and teach all at the same time. It's not possible. We're writing reports and IEPs on our own time, during our family time. So we need help. Again, we need help. We need lots of help. We need money, we need resources, and we need people. So please, whatever you can do to help us, we would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nate. I am a lifelong resident of Trumbull, and I was very fortunate to go through what I consider to be one of the better special education programs in our state. Our town has a fairly good one. Even then, however, it's not perfect. One of the problems that I noticed when I was a student in school, it felt like a lot of teachers didn't really understand what special ed students really were going through and what they needed. Like some of the classrooms had special ed teachers in them, but not all of them did. And a lot of the classrooms that I was in, the teachers seemed to not really understand. So I feel like one of the things that could be improved is giving all teachers some degree of special ed training, so that way they know how to deal with students who aren't special ed in their classrooms. And on top of that, maybe putting in some more paras and special ed teachers into the classrooms. So that way those teachers who do understand better are able to help with that. And then another thing that I think is necessary is also making sure that they have the funding that they need for special ed programs, because a lot of programs across the state are really underfunded, and not just in public schools too, also in colleges. Like when I was at Housatonic and at Southern, they did not have the best special ed programs. It felt like they didn't really have the time or resources to help me. And they certainly never made any effort to reach out to special ed students who might not have the ability or willingness to step forward and ask for help. Thank you.
John Taylor, Superintendent, is he still here? No. Alan? Fabula Miller?
Hello, thanks for doing this. I'm a member of the Board of Education in my town, and I also work as a school psychologist in another district. One of the things I mainly want to talk about is the funding mechanism. I heard, other people say. I mean, districts are really struggling to, cover the costs. We're seeing explosions and students with social emotional concerns, and it's just really difficult to, fund a lot of this. We'd love to hire more social workers to help out, but one of the problems is these unfunded mandates. We asked our superintendent once, can you get us a list of unfunded mandates? And it was 60 pages. Not all of them were special ed, but they were all related to education. It's killing us. So it drives us crazy because every year we get a new list of unfunded mandates. And I don't know why that, the people putting forth these unfunded mandates can't just talk to the school systems or do something on it, get filled with these. And another thing that's a significant cost that I would love for you to look at is the burden of proof. There's 4 states that have that law, and Connecticut's one of them. And I know it's a very significant cost, especially legal fees and that sort of thing. I mean, like I said, if we had more money, we'd love to hire social workers, that sort of thing. But it's, we feel like we're getting clobbered with all these mandates and laws. And it just doesn't, never see any relief. The other thing, I had no intention of talking about this, but all these people coming up here and different school districts saying that they're struggling, they have these enormous caseloads and they're losing people, and it's just kind of disturbing to hear that, especially I'm sorry if I sound like Bernie Sanders, but I think of one town in Connecticut, say the name, but they have they're hyper funded. They have 2 school psychologists in 1 elementary school, counselors. They have a dedicated administrator, which only involves the one PhD on children. And just, it's the disparity between that and, some of the towns and cities is just kind of quite more. I mean, those kids already in that particular town have a significant advantage over everyone else in the state. And on top of that, you're just going to perpetuate not you, but it's just being perpetuated. So I don't know what you can do about that, but I just needed to vent after hearing this. So,
Thank you. Feedback. I only have a couple questions. I have
Thank you for broadening and going on further than you had planned to. The legislature this year has 24 new mandates that are bill proposals right now. And I can't figure out why we have this problem with having to mandate every little thing versus having our local school districts decide what's best for the student population of the people that live in those communities. So thank you for actually saying that, because we need to get our jump together and be a little bit better focused as well. And it's important for us to acknowledge the things that we are guilty of doing very poorly and could change our choice.
Yeah, it just kind of feels like a slap in the face because we get all these mandates and all these laws and stuff, and then turn around and the state says we're going to fund you 60% of the special education systems. So it just doesn't,
Well, you look a lot better than Bernie Sanders.
So there's Amber in Meredith and then A. Melody in Meredith?
That's me.
Is that one? Okay.
Right here. Nope. President wants to go over to the microphone. Oh, this way.
Dear County members, my name is Amber. I am 14 years old. I am at school at Shepherd High School. I hope money is given to you help teachers, aides who help students like me. They need more turn to pay, raise, and need more special permission teachers and aides. Thank you, Amber Whitman.
We hear you, we're here to support. We're gonna do what we can, thank you.
I'll keep it super quick. I'm Melody Lamon. We are from Stratford, Connecticut, and she's now in high school, as she just said. I'm here to express my support for higher salaries with paraprofessionals in Stratford. They call them certified instructional aides. As we know, all over the state of Connecticut, there's a shortage of them, and they have been the lifesaver for her success in school. It was really hard in elementary school. There were times, especially around the pandemic, and returning to school, it was a nightmare. It resulted in a lot of seclusion and restraints. I'm not going to go into all of that right now because that's not the point of today's meeting, but that does lead to stop in Connecticut. So if you have any help on that area, please let me know. I have suggestions in here. I'll take care of it if you guys want to read that. Also, I just have to chime in as well that I'm very big in putting cameras in the special ed classrooms in Connecticut. I know that's not really what this is about, but I think that would be very important, keeping our kids safe as well. And I also support training the staff appropriately for literacy programs. For example, once there was a PPT meeting and the teacher said that when we had asked, what literacy program are you using that's like research-based, she said, we're not, we're going on Google and getting worksheets. And we're like, so now we have a literacy consultant on our team who consults 4 hours a year with the person who's doing that. And so she's getting about 45 minutes to an hour of one-on-one to make up for all those years that it wasn't being appropriately administered. I have lots of friends and family, all who have students with disabilities, and behaviors are really the number one thing. So it's really hard to proactively support students. Everyone talks about the kids that are throwing things, what to do, and like, no, well, if you're too late in responding, there's a collaborative, proactive solution method by livesinbalance.org. Like Dr. Ross Green, he has gone to some school systems on South, and now they have 0 seclusions and restraints. So there are ways it can be done. It's a lot of work. People come and train on an entire. He spoke at the special education equity for kids of Connecticut's conference a couple years ago. It was a packed room. It was very successful. If you came in and sort of advised how we can help Connecticut get better and stuff like that, that would be fantastic. We don't know where the funding will come from. But I hope that more can go into stuff here. The staffing shortage, as she explained, she was almost in tears. I was so happy to find somebody who's speaking out from my town because it's like a crisis in that town. And I don't know how to express that anymore. So thank you guys for being here and helping us with this. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
So those are all the folks that marked yes. If anyone did not mark yes, we have about 5-10 minutes. If you mark no, but you said like to make a comment, otherwise, but please feel free. We're going to take
You can also come up if you want to make a comment. Anybody who didn't sign up and wants to make a comment. You are superintendent, but we're going to talk later. I don't know if anybody else wants to come up to make a comment.
Thank you, Dr. for having us today. Again, Dr. Avery, the interim school superintendent, Bridgeport Public Schools. I did submit my testimony for you guys for your review. But I just want to make sure that I emphasize as a father of a deaf student and as a 32-year veteran of public education, it's important that we, I know as a parent, I advocate, I my daughter, she graduated from high school, is in the collegiate level right now. She runs track, and she is studying to be an audiologist. And so we never thought she'd even be there. But again, as I came out of retirement to support Richmond Public Schools, I came here with an effort to make sure that we fight for kids. I see such a magnitude of hope for Richmond Public Schools, and I think the community and I think the state of Connecticut feels that there's a lot of money being pushed into Richmond Public Schools, but I think there's not enough. And I think there has to be leaders that's going to have the vision to orchestrate those dollars in a way that's going to be meaningful for kids. And I know I have a staff now that's been very supportive. I have the mayor of Bridgeport that's been reaching out to me to kind of work to try to change the direction of the ship. I know the community, I've been in the interim position for about 2 months now. And I've had an opportunity to speak to special education teachers, to bilingual teachers, to a variety of different, union organizations, nonprofits, and it's time. It's time for us to reset and really shift the priorities for children. As I took a deep dive into our financial perspectives in Bridgeport, yes, there is a $32 million deficit, but it just didn't happen overnight. It's been a long stretch of oversight of how those funds are used. We've been in our district utilizing, trying to keep the operational budget in play, and not enough focus on how do we have programs and how do we put money back into those programs to help kids. And I think we really, and I'm trying to gear my board to truly understand that piece of it. And I think we're going to be there. I'm welcoming the state to come into our district to support on technical issues across the district, and special ed is one of those. And so we're going to fight the fight, we're going to come to Harvard to kind of express what we're going to do differently, and look forward to engaging with the conversation. Thank you.
I didn't want to speak because I wanted to hear from parents. I am on the board of ed in Trumbull, but I was also a teacher for my whole life, just about. And I wanted to talk about 3 different things. I think all but one have been alluded to by other people. I didn't hear this, so it doesn't come out right. That's why. First of all, I also taught in a very wealthy school district for a while, and I've also worked in an alliance district for quite a while. So 2 sides of the coin. And I would just agree completely with what he left already, the man back there said, the resources that are available to the welfare districts, it's just no comparison at all. The kinds of advantages that kids have. I've seen teachers do miracles in the alliance district I work with, but you can't do that all the time, every day, day in and day out. So the funding system at the state level has to change. It's just ridiculously unfair. Second thing, speaking to unfunded mandates, which I think someone else also brought up, my superintendent says if they would just stop giving us unfunded mandates, we might be able to make things work. I think it's like hammer after hammer. And the CT SEDS program is just one example, the amount of training that had to happen, the amount of time it still takes, et cetera. But the last thing I wanted to talk about, which I don't think people have talked about, and this is maybe as a board of ed member, but also as just someone who really cares about kids. The state is pitting people against each other in communities. Everyone cares about kids, and all of the Board of Ed members that I know care so much about the children. Staff care so much about the children. Parents care about children. But we are fighting. There's a fight over the resources, and it pits people against each other. I'm also on the finance committee of the Board of Ed. When the head of special ed comes in and we say, team, we're down another $300,000, and we'll say, we have 3 new students come in the district and they all really needed to be outplaced. And he says we have to do what's right for kids. And he's right. You know, he has that in his heart that we have to do this. We'll have parents at the beginning of the year say, why can't we have one more teacher in third grade because our class sizes are too big? It's pitting communities against each other within our communities. And that destruction is just bad for everybody. So,
Thank you. Okay, I think, unless anyone feels moved to speak right now, I think we're at the end. Thank you all so much. Oh, is there somebody who wants to speak? Sorry. One quick.
I just want to speak as someone who was a previous employee of the Connecticut Technical High Schools on behalf of my friends. I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. I agree with what they shared, that the number of special ed students in the technical high schools has grown exponentially in the last 5 years. And this impacts all of us because they serve students from every single one of our communities across the state of Connecticut, and they are not allowed to submit for excess cost funding. And I don't know if you guys have heard that from anybody yet on your roadshow, but I just wanted to make sure that you understood that. So when they're being tasked with developing a continuum of services for kids across a wide span of needs, they should be allowed to get those funding resources as well, because that's just not fair.
We're learning so much in these listening sessions, so I love that so many communities were represented and so many different fields and areas as well. So thank you very much for being here. I don't know if committee members have any closing remarks. Okay, well, that's it for us. You can always reach out to us individually, and then look at that committee page right for those resources. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for taking the time to come out. We really appreciate you, and we'll take this all into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you guys.